Okay, so this is the second test. I know my audio quality is pretty shitty, so I apologize for that. Not much I can do about it at the moment. Maybe later it'll go better. Also, I sound like I have a, I don't know, whatever. Anyways, let's start. So this is the second game, or the second map in the matchup between Monaters and Smash, and it took me so long to do the first two. Maybe I'll try to be short on these two. I actually intend to do more than two for video, but obviously that's going to take however long it takes. Okay. Let's start. Obviously the sniper's memorizing statues. Reasonable play. Probably should have cut that bug. That bug was actually obvious, but didn't see it. Probably time of chaos. I can go back and look at it. Let's do that. Hold. Should be this pause. Wasn't working. Okay. Took two. Let's watch it from sniper perspective. I'm just gonna move the sniper here. Probably sees that Smash is on the other side, taking a second or two to get the statues memorized, but Smash is here when that happens. Maybe he doesn't wait for it and sees it, but I find it hard to not have missed that. I mean, to have missed that. It's very blatant. I don't know. Low letting double agents, pretty standard. Maybe just so focused on trying to memorize statues, but I don't know, I think memorizing statues can be challenging. Like, it's not hard, it takes all of 5 seconds. But some players do it faster, some players do it slower. I know sometimes I'm in a mood where, like, it'll just take me a second, and maybe that's what happened, but let's watch that again from not Smash's perspective, just because that looked a little weird. So Monaters goes to window, takes a drink, and then leaves, I think. So that wasn't actually so bad. Just looked a little odd. Yeah, so from Smash's perspective, if you rewatch that moment, you pan over, you see light blue, leave, go to the pads. Maybe that's not so bad. It was a little bit weirder. Watching Purloin, watching Bug. So, seems to have no idea that he missed Bug, which is unfortunate. So this is sort of hard because I can't see what the spy is doing at all. But I think that's sort of the point, is that, well, Smash is definitely keeping track of statues. Seems maybe left 8 on that side of the map a second too long, but I think timing is... Oh, that'd be weird. I'll watch it again. Timing is something that's difficult on Panopticon. And... Oh. Is that... No. Okay, it wasn't an animation cut. It was just a really weird leave. I think it looked like a bounce out of conversation a little bit. No highlight from that. I think that, again, as you play more, you just catch these subtle tells without even trying. And the media talk. The immediate talk is fairly suspicious, but it's also something that's not always the easiest to look for on Panopticon, especially for a neutral light. For a highlight, it's definitely something that you should be looking for, is someone who talks pretty soon into going into a CC, and even more so, you should try to have a sense of who is in that CC so you can try to weed out who the ST was. Now, what was that light for? Okay, so that light was probably for a little bit of weird movement from snaps, but I guess it wasn't that weird. Also, that's actually a pretty good spot to try to Purloin. Actually, where Yellow Danger is a pretty good Purloin spot. Okay, so the spy is finally marked for statues, which is totally reasonable. Marking for statues is a very typical play, and most snipers do it, including myself. But it's also sort of a risky play that you get too many highlights, too many people to watch, and it doesn't give you a whole lot of information unless you remember who's infected and who hasn't. Floating, again, Monaters is speaking pretty early on into entering the competition, and this time he's the highlight. So maybe that's something you pick up on, but it's also hard. There's a lot of conversation going on. There's a lot of things, but I think it's something that you can reasonably spot. In fact, I know snipers who do spot it consistently. I spot it. It's something I try to look for, although with more advanced, like, yeah, players with more games under their belt and who have been shot more for this kind of thing tend to give it a cycle or two, but it's still something that you should be watching for. Just because spies have to complete their missions. Okay, so swap happens. Monaters basically does a pretty nice swap. It's seen here at statues. So whether Smash remembers it or not, but most likely Smash just sees him, he's already a highlight, isn't necessarily expecting that swap, goes away and comes back. Now, it's definitely something that's totally reasonably guarded, as long as it's something you expected. That's the key. Now, the key is going to be here, does he see the swap now? If he sees the swap now, he can definitely win. If he doesn't notice that swap, I think he's definitely a little confused about that statue and what it was before. And yeah, okay, so definitely saw the swap. Shoot someone with a book in hand, probably because felt like it's done. Oh, because closest to the statue, that makes sense. I think that's the shot. Not that shot, like, that shot, the timing of the shot makes sense. That's what I'm trying to say. Is, you see that hardtail done, it feels, the game's pretty almost over, so it's 0:38, so you assume that in like another 10 seconds, there's going to be a machine win anyways. So you take the best guess you have, and you shoot. And now that's a risky play too, because what if the spy's not done like the spy's not done now? But I don't think it's like an absurd idea. I don't think it's a completely unreasonable idea to take that shot. Because I think Monaters would have won this game. No question. All you need to do is a contact. Maybe you wait for the contact. I think it's very likely that contact double agent is going to happen on this map. Just because it's so... It's an easy mission to complete. It's fairly reasonable to do without giving too much suspicion. And especially at the end where the sniper is only going to have 10 seconds to figure out who possibly could have contacted, it's a pretty good mission to do. So I think Monaters would have finished, but I also think that Smash could have potentially waited for the Monaters. Now, Monaters isn't going to go off in every game, but it's going to go off in the majority of games. Let's see, a couple of other things to note. There's not a whole lot to think. I mean, that bug should have been caught. That's it. Now, bugs are definitely hard to catch on this map, and guarding it effectively is a challenge. But if it's happening right in front of your face, there's not much you can do about it if you miss it. I'm not saying that Smash is an awful player for having missed it. I'm saying that in order to play better, you have to be able to catch all of that kind of a bug. Anything else I have to say about this game? There's not a whole lot to say. I mean, potentially having more fluid lights or better lighting systems may have helped. I think it's something I have to think about a little bit before I say recommend it, is to think about how you're lighting for statues on this map. Especially if a lot of people go to statues, you're just going to get a ton of highlights. It's not going to be it's not going to be a lot. It's going to be, it's not going to be extraordinarily helpful. It's not useless. It gives you some information, and especially it helps you guard against swap, so you remember who was at statue. But other than that, I think even a little bit more party awareness would have helped. I think, for instance, there are people on this map who are being active and people on this map who are being sort of inactive and taking the time to try to have highlights and plays for activity versus inactivity would work. I'm surprised that Smash isn't marking books here, so I think marking books, not everyone needs to mark books, but if you don't have a sense of where books came from, you're gonna get burned on the microphone. It seems like Smash has a pretty good control of the pro line, so that's a good play. Pro line unfortunately didn't happen, but the only thing else I can say about how to play this better, and it's always hard to say exactly what could have been done better, but maybe just a little bit better control of, like, timing wise, when to rotate and when to not, but that's something that I'm still learning a lot, or trying to figure out. Yeah, other than that, I think catching the pass talks is something that's reasonable to do, and something that would have gathered Monaters of some more suspicion. I also think that something that's really helpful to do, that is to have a top suspect. That doesn't mean you should go tunnel. You should definitely be worried about, you should definitely try to not tunnel, but have someone suspicious in your mind, because it allows you to try to focus and actually assess whether they're suspicious or not. And it gives you some more information. Also, a better guard on this swap could have easily won Smash's game. Definitely catches the swap, and is not sure who was there, and had he remembered, just noted that light blue was at that statue, could have won the game. So, that's it. I think that game was fairly well played by Monaters. I didn't see, like, there were a couple, like, small pathing errors. The bug was pretty bad. The swap was reasonable, but it's also a pretty risky play, I think, against other snipers. Probably would get him shot, but it doesn't mean, I still think, like, during swap, when your opponent isn't really expecting it, and especially, like, if you have that highlight, you know you already have that highlight, you're pretty sure that your opponent isn't expecting that swap, and isn't going to actively remember that you were there. It's not a bad play to try to, like, play on their memory a little bit, but it's also obviously risky. I think maybe a better play would have been to go contact and then swap and block, but he does get away with the swap and wins the game. That's it. Next game. Okay. So this game, Monaters is on Sniper and Smash is on Spy. Gathering information on the statues, immediately getting control to make sure no one's bugging the ambassador. Potentially General for now, but if General were to try to bug, you would see Generals leave the conversation. Okay. Spies at yellow bookcase. I don't think Monaters has noted the spies at yellow bookcase. I think Monaters looks like to be watching Toby and... Was there a transfer? Sorry, give me a second. No, it just has a book. Yeah, he just has a yellow book. And I don't think that Monaters has any sense of which book that is. So, I think it looks like Smash is going to do a microfilm transfer. And I think Monaters' play here is actually very smart. To think that that's a really good place to microfilm transfer. You have the cover CC, and I think watching for that, or at least noting it, I think the decision to zoom in there might have been a mistake just because you give up so much of the other party, but I definitely think that you know that they're suspicious. And Smash's decision, I think Smash notices that it's suspicious and decides not to, and that's also a really good decision. Okay. Standard off. Highlight for the leave, which is good. Highlight potentially for returning a book to a bookcase that you don't know. So, should be top suspect. Not having a lot of low lights. Now, you definitely want to be careful not letting cartels go when Banana Plate goes off, but you also want to try to get your low lights. So I'm going to rewind a little bit and see what could have been done. Because He's sitting here, leaning, not getting potentially the most good out of. So at this moment, if I were a sniper and I were here, who's out of conversation? Okay, red just in low light. Other than that, it's actually a really good banana bread. There aren't like a whole lot of people you could have recently low lighted. Low lit. That being said, no, that wasn't a fake. I don't necessarily think it's. Yeah, I think potentially low lights here were reasonable. That's it. I don't have a whole lot of. I mean, maybe one low light, and definitely the highlight was the play. Trying to figure out who's banana betting is difficult. I think maybe some more attempts at trying to figure out who the real DA is and who isn't. That's actually really interesting. Low light. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by other things. What's it? Here. Snaps, picks up the drink, runs away without taking a photo in, and I think that's a thing that spies tend not to do. I think that low light is definitely reasonable. You have to be careful with it, obviously, and I think you low light white here for that nice briefcase abortion. That's what it looked like. You low light them. Assume that it's right. Like, you can't assume that it's right. It's not going to do that, but you can reasonably guess that, especially if you're off screen. I wonder if Monaters caught that reject. I think it's possible, but it doesn't matter because there wasn't a pro line. I think that would have been potentially decent time to pro line, but Smash was seen as a reject. But whether or not Monaters has controlled that reject is a whole other question. Okay, so what was the highlight for? Okay, highlight for the potential pro line, which is a pretty good play. I mean, it is good play. This is something that I've seen Monaters do, which is good. Which is looking for the times where missions are good to happen and potentially will happen. I'm going to watch that potential bug, attempted bug again. Both from Snipers Blue and Spy users. Looks like it's going to be totally out of Sniper View. Yeah, good timing from Smash for that bug. When you walk back, that looks a little weird, but maybe that's just pathing and not the bug. I think it goes up pretty cleanly, and it's good timing. Let's watch it again. I think the walk away is what, and not sitting there for the second, so actually make sure it takes is what makes it not take. But then again, if you sit there, you're going to be more suspicious. So that kind of play is risky, but I think, oh wow, that entry into CC is extraordinarily good. Okay, low lights for taking the drink and walking away seems like a common thing that Monaters is doing. I definitely like that low light. I think obviously any low light system based on a specific thing is potentially going to get you in trouble, but that being said, I think it's definitely feasible. Okay, so I'm going to talk about something that I've been thinking about a little bit, and like, it's hard to shoot for something like that. You're not going to. I mean, I think that if you're playing this game, it's very likely that this is your top suspect. That whatever business suit, whatever his name is your top suspect. You've seen him potentially microfilm. You've seen him inspect. You saw the contact run to a different bookcase that you were pretty sure that he didn't have that red book, or even if you weren't sure what book it was. So I think it's actually very likely that this is your top suspect. And then this happens. What happens is you take this really short path to statues, and I think it's really spy-like. I think that bounce was also pretty bad. Like, that bounce was really not good. But I also think that that kind of movement, short path, will happen from the AI, but it's pretty unlikely. I think it's something that spies do a lot more often than AI do. So I think that's something that maybe you don't shoot for, but you're definitely suspicious. You should be suspicious of this swap going on. Yeah. Let's see if he goes to swap at all. The swap and block is going to come off. You're going to have to shoot. You see the swap? Yeah. That was good guarding by Monaters. Smash had stood there for an extra second. I'm curious whether Smash would have gotten the win. I think the idea to swap block is good. Timing for it is always difficult because the longer you stand there, the more suspicion you have in yourself. But the more suspicion you have, the longer you stand there, the more suspicion you have. But the less time you stand there, the more likely you're going to get shot. But if they see it, notice it. Monaters on top of it. Notice the swap. Probably was the top suspect anyways, and wins the game. So that was a really good shot and guard by Monaters. Things that it could have been done differently. I think Smash had some good plays here. I think the decision to not microphone behind here. I think the decision to go here and try to microfilm is actually really good. I like the composition of being blocked by composition there. I actually think maybe this pad would be really good to try that. Or this pad. Definitely something maybe I should try it on the game. But it's also pretty suspicious, and I think Monaters recognizes that, which is really good. I think that's really the key to being a sniper, is recognizing times and opportunities. That looked like a little bit of a weird path, actually. Sorry. I'm gonna go back a little bit, but to recognize path. Okay, so that bump wasn't great. That turn, but see that moment? I'm gonna do this in slow motion. And actually slow motion this time. I'm gonna try to show you something. Which is Spy Slide, which is still a bug that's in the game. That if you can catch it, it's a hotel. So that bump was definitely weird. So watch, turns around again, and that stop. I think that's something that only Spy's gonna do. That kind of a. So maybe you see, maybe you don't. Also that. Okay, so that entry into CC wasn't great. Maybe you're not going to catch it because you're probably too busy watching everything else, but that's the thing, is being able to catch that kind of thing, or at least be aware that it happened, can be a pretty important strategy, or can be important to play well. You can't always assume that your opponent's going to path poorly, and I think having control over other things like cartels is also just as important, but I think Monaters has a really strong play to note that transfer microphone is potentially going to go off, that pathing was a little bit weird, and Smash's decision to not transfer microphone, not to do the action test of removing the microphone was actually also really good, and this idea to banana split into bookcase is also a strong move, and let's look at the timing for that actually. I'm going to take the 20 seconds to talk about timing for that banana split, because that banana split is actually can be a really strong play. It's a little scary because I think Monaters has control over that book, and I'm not positive. And it happens, let's look in Spy View. It happens when the laser's on this side of the map. And maybe what you do is you wait 20 seconds to try and hope that the sniper will go something like, because the sniper is on this side, so the most common reaction is that the sniper will go boom, low light, and maybe check over here to make sure there isn't any other low light, so also probably low light here. So low light, and in the time that Monaters might be doing that, then the bookcase is definitely not being looked at, and you get the transfer off. But I think what happens here is Monaters is looking at his composition in this weird tilted beam, and is able to see that immediately after the nanobag comes off, Business Suit goes to whatever his name is, goes to the red bookcase and gets a lot of suspicion. So I think that was potentially a good play by Smash. I think maybe timing that a little better. I think also you have to read your opponent pretty well. I think snipers have been doing, spies have been doing fast banana splits recently, but that means it actually becomes more powerful to do them. But if your opponent is likely to fight you for a banana split, then it's less effective. In any case, I think that's all I have to say about this map. Maybe I'll just keep it to 2 just to try to keep the lanes down, but okay, that's it. Bye.